Right. And do you listen to the show?
I've listened to a couple episodes.
So that's a no.
Specifically the Guns and Gis ones.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Because my podcast, I don't do like, please tell me about the time when, like, we're just hanging out, right?
Right.
And so I think, was it RheAnna that said when she walked in, like, I'm kind of nervous. Like, are you fucking serious right now?
For real.
No, we're just hanging out.
Always makes me nervous.
But yeah, today's episode is with Nanette and RheAnna, Banana. And you guys both attended class 4, Guns and Gis. Right. And I think it'd be cool to do an episode of Girls That Train because that's becoming a bigger and bigger thing. And I think a lot of girls are hesitant to make that first step into training for reasons that men don't even experience and don't even understand. And so I thought it'd be cool. You flew into town today.
Yep.
We're going to train jiu-jitsu in a couple hours.
Yes.
And we have time to knock out a podcast. So let's do it. And we're already going, in case you didn't know that.
Figured.
And remember, stay right up on that mic, okay? So what I like to do is just let you guys introduce yourself, a little bit about you, where you're from, and then we'll just have fun with it, have an organic conversation, not some bullshit.
Okay.
Nanette, go first.
From Indianapolis. How far do you want to go back? Is it specific about jiu-jitsu or about life?
I want to hear about when you came out of your mother's birth canal.
Okay, so it was beautiful morning, September 17th, 1976. I'm from Indianapolis, born and raised. I went to high school there, college there, Butler, got an undergrad in accounting, did public accounting for a few years, got my MBA, started working in healthcare administration. After that, joined the Peace Corps, moved to Africa in 2007 when I turned 30 because I just needed to understand life a little bit better. Came back and I've been working in healthcare administration since then. In Indianapolis. I did sports growing up, all different kinds of sports, basketball, soccer, did women's soccer in my 20s on an adult league, and then got into CrossFit pretty good about right after I got back from Africa, probably.
And you're still doing CrossFit, right? Still
do CrossFit from home. I have a home gym. I do that every day, most days a week. But my sister and I did Krav Maga together a little bit. And then when she moved,
I call it Krav Maga because they're always touching dicks.
Yeah. Lots of striking though. So we did that together.
I'm just kidding. There's someone out there right now screaming, "Fuck you."
Oh yeah. Probably my coach from Indianapolis, but we did that together and it was great. But when she left, is when she started jiu-jitsu and when I started CrossFit.
Okay.
And she said, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. And I just I never felt comfortable. To get on the mats without having a female training partner that I knew I could trust.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the biggest things for females is developing that level of comfort. And I hear the same story over and over. It's like, once you start training, you realize like the mats aren't really a sexualized place. No. Like how many people that don't understand jiu-jitsu will see someone in a closed guard and they're like, dude, what is that? Right. And it's like, I always say, come and train with me.
Yep.
And then when we're done, tell me if anything about what we did felt sexual.
Right.
And if you say yes, you're never welcome to my gym again.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's just not the vibe. That's not what we're doing. That has nothing to do with training.
Right.
But people that are outside of that, that's their first inclination.
Absolutely.
Because you're up in each other's space, you're touching each other. Mm-hmm. It is an intimate connection.
Yes.
But it's an intimate connection through martial arts, not a sexuality. Right. You know, if it gets too hot in here, feel free to turn around and open that window because we do have 4 people crammed into one room.
Real close.
It's women who train plus Mike.
That's right.
Hello.
Nanette's husband's joining us as well, or RheAnna's husband.
Watch out.
Yeah. Nanette's like, what? I don't have a husband.
We're all spending the night together tonight.
That sounds like a good time. Maybe I'll invite myself.
After hours podcast.
But no, and one thing I'll say on Krav Maga, because people are always like, people do what they do and they buy off on it and they believe in it. And when anyone jokes about it, everyone's like, what the fuck? That's and it's like, I even bust on jiu-jitsu, but the truth is like, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of Krav Maga practitioners, they don't get that real full speed sparring. And it's because at least my buddies that have trained have told me they're like, it's too dangerous to train full speed. And as soon as you say it's too dangerous to train full speed, that tells me it doesn't work. Because as you know, real-time training is about angles. It's about movement. It's about reading someone's hips. It's about watching what they're doing and anticipating the next move that they're doing and all that stuff has to be learned in real time. Like if all you did in jiu-jitsu was drill and you never sparred, your jiu-jitsu wouldn't work.
Exactly.
Period.
Yes.
And think how many moves you can learn in a drilling speed. Like you can be a white belt and I can show you a triangle and I can show you all the angles and how to set it up and how to finish it. And you can drill that 1,000 times. Now do it in a live sparring match. Totally different thing,
Totally
right?
different thing.
And so we are going to go down the Africa rabbit hole for a minute, though, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, sure.
Because this podcast is obviously, it's my background is law enforcement, military, jiu-jitsu, but I like it to be about growth and change and pursuing your passions. Mm-hmm. And when you said that, it's like at 30 years old, I needed a change. Most people are afraid of that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, most people are like, you're going to start something new at 30?
Everybody thought I was crazy.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
That like, and it's like anything you do that's outside of the norm, it's almost like people subconsciously poo-poo on it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Because I don't know if it's through jealousy or it just, I had people say like, that's career suicide. And I was like, this has nothing to do with my career.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, because there's more to life than just career. I need to understand how the world works a little bit better and walk a mile in their shoes and see the world a little bit more.
Yeah. And think about, me and my wife were literally talking about this morning because my girls' school, they have a lot of 4-day weeks. They're in private school and 3-day weekends. And she goes, you imagine if like more companies did 4-day work weeks and 3-day weekends.
Yes.
And I said, think about what we're saying right now. You're still working the majority of your life, but just having 3 days to yourself is like, oh my God.
I know.
Most people have hardly any of their own time to live their own life.
Right.
And that's normal.
Right.
And
I don't even know who made up this 5-day work.
And then you retire and then you die.
That's exactly right.
And it's like,
No.
So if you try and step out of that cycle, I think the reason people shit on it so much is because everyone else is trapped in that cycle.
Yes.
And if they see someone making the great escape,
Yep.
and I don't know if it's necessarily like a conscious jealousy, but they're like, man, I wish I could do that.
I had a friend's husband say to me, you can't just keep running around traveling the world and doing things like this. You have to settle down. And I was like, no, I don't.
And then you kept doing it.
I literally never have to do that.
No, you don't. And like,
And we're not friends anymore.
no, the cool thing about like what happened to me is I was kind of thrown into that by chance, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm learning that you can make just as much money, if not more money. You can have just as much freedom. And I mean, I have a business and I have kids. Like my life should be really busy, right?
Yep.
But if you live in a manner that serves you, you can make it all work and you can be you for a living.
And be really happy and be purposeful.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So then what made you come to the conclusion of the Peace Corps?
Well, I kicked it around a little bit when, during college, but right after college, I had to, after I got my degree, I had to get a job and, the whole placement after college. And by the time I turned 30, I was like, Peace Corps would be a good opportunity for me to give back. You have to live at the level of the people you serve. So you live in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know what that's like. I mean, that'd be interesting and probably grow a little bit there. I didn't choose Africa. I just was placed. I just wanted to go to a place where I could learn. And so I probably learned more the year I was there than any year of my life.
So I don't even know how it works. I've heard about the Peace Corps a million times, but do you actually go under contract with them or something? Or
You're a volunteer.
You're a volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you literally can quit at any time.
Got it.
There's no contract. You're a volunteer. We have people that got to Africa and got on the next plane the next day and came back. They were like, fuck this.
I saw that with people in Iraq.
I cannot do this.
When we were contracting in Iraq, because once we're not out of the military and you're a private contractor, you do have that ability to say, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah. Tap out. Mm-hmm.
Where did they send you specifically in Africa?
Burkina Faso, West Africa.
I don't even.
Most people don't. It is a
God bless you.
landlocked, the size of Colorado in West Africa. It borders Togo, Benin, Ivory Coast. It's kind of in that little middle section. That the top half of it is in the desert, and the bottom half touches Ivory Coast, which is close to where I was.
Is that where you see the elephants standing next to the ocean?
No, it's landlocked. Ivory Coast, yes.
Ivory Coast, yeah.
Yes, but there were elephants where I lived. Mm-hmm, but no, I wasn't on the ocean.
And then what was the mission there?
So I can just give you a little synopsis of the Peace Corps. So the Peace Corps is in countries of the world will petition or apply to the United States to request Peace Corps help. And I think there might be 8 sectors now, but they'll have to say, we want help in agriculture, we want help in business, we want help in health or education. So I went for small business development because I have my background was in business. I was placed there to basically with this very big women's organization that wanted to become more legitimate in the eyes of the government. Like when I lived there, the women didn't really own businesses, own land. So they have a little bit of a women's rights movement going on there. So I was placed with this organization to help them, kind of get their business in order and teach them business skills and create a governing board. And so I was there to teach a women's group business skills.
And how long was that rotation or deployment, whatever you call them?
So when you sign up for the Peace Corps, it's 27 months.
Oh shit, that's a long commitment.
And here's the thing, it's a very long commitment. And the people that I had met when I got into country that had been there for 2 years were so jaded and so cynical, every single one of them. And I was just like, I don't know that 22 years is really the one for me. So I was there at about the 9-month mark. I had a come to Jesus conversation with the people I was working with who basically said, now that you've been here long enough, we want you to, we need you to request some funding from UNICEF. We want to do this and that, whatever. And I was like, I didn't come here to ask for money. I came here to help you guys learn on your own, to do for yourselves. And they were like, no, we want the money. And I was like, then we're going to have to agree to disagree. And I'm out.
Did they train you to do that stuff?
Train us to do what?
Like your business skills or?
No. What? I mean, you probably could teach business skills to them. I'm not saying like, oh, even you, but like, you don't have to have like.
Even you. Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
That way. But no, like they didn't have to train me. Like I went in and I could teach them how to, to run a business. That was my background.
I actually run a business and I don't think I could go to Africa and teach someone how to run a business.
You could. It's simplistic.
So it was the locals to asking you to petition for more money. Okay. And I
understand how it works.
Yeah,
so
of course.
When I say what I learned the year that I lived there was more than any other years, because before I went, I was like, anything you can do to help people helps. And after living there and seeing that people are the same everywhere and people will ride on the coattails of others and people will take as much as you give them, I was like, I'm not going to give anything but education from here on out.
Yeah. And that kind of just perpetuates the problem.
Absolutely. The welfare system.
And then, they're on the government tit.
Yep.
But the government,
they wanted to.
They want to. And that's actually what's shocking to me. Like the government wants everybody on the government tit now.
Yep.
Like
it's control.
Yeah. But what's weird is like everybody wants to be on it too.
Not everybody.
Yeah, I know. But I feel like
a lot of people,
the majority. Yeah.
It's uncomfortable how comfortable they are with it.
Yeah. So then 9 months and you told them
I got to go.
That's enough.
Well, and she said, we can place you with a different, my country director, we can place you with a different group. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I've learned enough about life and people and I'm going to head back.
Yeah. Would you say, I mean, you kind of said it, that most people that are there, that do their full rotation are jaded. Is it just kind of like most government entities, the blind leading the blind and fuck up, move up and...
No, I think that there are people you just kind of get tired of people always, if you live there long enough, you'll be asked, will you take me to America with you? Can you give me money? Will you marry me? It's like, okay, we're done here. I think it was that more so than there was a lot of people that went that still love the people of Burkina Faso. Many of my Peace Corps friends are like, oh, I love it. They go back. Some people went into not-for-profit work, NGO work, all over the world. So maybe I was seeing it from my perspective, but
yeah, but I think it's good. Like you said, you got to walk a period of time in someone else's shoes and perspective. You can gain perspective through the television and through your phone, but not to the extent that you can from being there and seeing it with your own two eyes.
Yep.
And so like, if nothing else, seeing what a shitty part of the world is like makes you appreciate home that much more.
Oh my gosh. I had a latrine. There was no running water. It wasn't like, we didn't have any of that. And so I came back and I was looking at an apartment and they were like, well, the carpet's kind of old and the cabinets need to be redone. And I was like, does the toilet flush?
This is the Taj Mahal of apartments.
Best thing I've ever had. There's water running out of the faucet that's not dirty with every disease in the world. I'll take it.
No, I think about that with my kids because like I want to give them a good life. I don't want them to want and I'm guilty of spoiling them, but and I've told this story on the podcast before, so people are probably like, God, he's fucking telling this story again. But my middle daughter, she doesn't think this house is big enough. We need a bigger house.
This house is huge.
Yeah, and I'm like, this house, any human being on planet Earth should be more than happy living inside of this
Absolutely.
house. And if this isn't good enough, there's a fucking problem with your perspective.
She needs to go to Africa.
And that's what I told her. I was like,
I'll take her.
Yeah.
Babysit.
But I was like, when I was in the military in Afghanistan, entire families lived in a mud hut the size of this room.
Yes. I was going to say this room would be good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But nope, not if you're a fucking 9-year-old girl that gets anything that you want, you know? Easy.
She's on easy street.
I guess I'm just have to get super, super rich.
Yeah, no, but that was part of why I went too. I mean, and I didn't grow up in the lap of luxury or anything, but at 30, I was just like, man, I need to learn a little bit more. And I did.
Did any of the friends that like kind of poo-pooed on the idea ever come back around and be like, you know what? I wish I could do something like that.
100%. I've had people since then tell me like, I live vicariously through you, Nanette, and everything that you do. And I was just like, I hope you do things that you were afraid to do and just go forward and try, do it. You live in the freest country in the world. Just go do it.
And not only the freest country, but you should be able to, like, if you strip me of everything and threw me out on the streets naked, in 2 years, I'd live somewhere. I'd have a job. Yep. I'd have a car. Like, if you have the will to succeed, you're going to succeed here no matter what.
Absolutely.
And that's what I told all my cop buddies when they're like, dude, you're crazy. You're getting fired, dude. Like, what are you going to do? I'm like,
figure it out.
Become a real estate agent? I mean, I don't fucking know. I'm going to do something.
Right.
But why are people so afraid of the unknown when the unknown in America is a fucking cakewalk?
That's what, exactly. I'm like, how hard is it going to end up being?
And here's another thing I tell people, because I was a police officer for a long time. 100% of homeless people on the streets are not on the streets because they lost their job. They're on the streets because they're addicted to heroin.
But yeah,
that's it, right? I dealt with them literally every single day in Seattle. And so it's like, we don't live in a society where it's like you lost your job and now you're living under a bridge. No. That's just not how it works. There's enough resources and there's enough ways to succeed here that people with a good heart and a good brain, they will.
Yes, they will.
Period.
Yep.
Yeah, even my new property, we had people who were like, because it didn't have a driveway when I bought it. That's it. Like, okay, I need to make a driveway. Dude, you're crazy buying that. I'm like, motherfuckers have been building roads since people have been alive. I think I can figure out how to build a road. I think
I'll figure it out.
And so then when you got home, you kind of went back to what?
In a roundabout way, it's a long story there, but I ended up back in Indianapolis and went back into work in the hospital.
How's that?
Good. It was good. It's been good. I mean,
you're still doing that today?
Healthcare administration. Yep. I got my master's in healthcare administration over the course of my 30s and have worked my way up into different positions to healthcare administration in our system.
Awesome. All right, RheAnna. I know. You even said that when we met. You're like, everyone calls me RheAnna.
It's just because of RheAnna.
I know.
She's so cool, right?
No, I hate her now because
really?
she makes me mess your name up.
Oh, yeah. I hate her too then.
But you did a similar thing. You went in the Marine Corps when you were young, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the opposite.
No, I don't think it's the opposite at all. It's chasing unknown adventure.
Yeah.
How old were you when you decided that you wanted to be a Marine?
I was 21. I was like failing out of college. I didn't have anything else going for me at the time.
What made you want to go in the military?
So I was doing a study abroad in France, and that was the first time that I kind of saw the rest of the world. And there's a lot of immigrants in France, and you don't learn about that in your glorious French romance books in college, right? So then one day there's just like this massive riot in the town square. I'm in like the countryside, right? And it's all immigrants from Syria, and they're protesting the Syrian president of what was happening over there. A village was like massacred, women, children, everyone, like videos of people being beheaded, right? And there's like the language barrier because I don't speak their language. I barely speak French and they definitely don't speak English. So I did a lot of like internet searching, and France doesn't have like censorship like we do. So I saw everything. Mm-hmm. So I come back to the States like 6 weeks later and no one cared. I was like, hey, this is happening in the Middle East. And they were like, and we've been over there forever. Like, whatever. It's not us. It's not our backyard. So I was like, I have to do something. And the best and easiest path was the military.
Mm-hmm. So went into the recruiter and just said, I want to be a Marine.
No, I actually
Here,
tried.
Make sure you're right up on that mic too.
Yeah. So I tried the Air Force first, and I was a bartender at the time. So I was used to like random dudes hitting on me, and the Air Force recruiter did the same thing, same shady stuff. So I had like tattoos that you have to tell them about. And on my torso, he's like, yeah, send me a picture. He's like texting me late at night, like, send me a picture of that tattoo for your paperwork. I was like, I don't think this is right.
Everybody thinks the military is full of like America's finest. There's so many shitty people. There's so many shitty people in the military. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you say this because I mean, not a similar experience, but I wanted to be an Army Ranger or a Navy SEAL, right? And the Navy recruiter was a douchebag. So I'm like, the Navy sucks. And it's like, you're basing a career move off of one person's interaction, you know? But that's a natural thing. You hear that a lot.
But it would have happened. Like I walked out the next day. I was like, this guy's kind of a pig. And I was like super sad and disappointed. I was like, this can't be what the military is like, right? And luckily enough, there was a female Marine right outside the Marine recruiter station, and she saw me crying, and she's like, what's wrong? I was like, this guy's just kind of like a pig. And then she went over and like cussed him out. I was like, fuck yeah, I want to be you. And so that's how they got me.
Okay. What did you sign up as? Or do you even get to sign up as something in the Marine Corps? Or is it?
If you're smart, you do. Yeah.
Okay. And you're smart. So
smart.
What did you go in as?
I signed up to fix computers. But during my training, so we have like a year of school to do that. They decided to stop paying Marines to do that because I guess most Marines aren't that smart. So they gave those to civilians, and so I got stuck fixing radios for the next 4 years.
Did that suck, or was it a good experience?
It was fun. Like I got to learn how to solder and fix circuit cards, and I met my husband.
There you go.
Woo! So
you were active duty at the same time?
I was, yeah.
Okay. Where were you guys stationed?
Camp Pendleton.
Got it. Yeah, Pendleton doesn't suck.
No. You make the most of it.
I went through Marine Corps pre-scout sniper in Pendleton.
Oh, cool.
And land nav out there is fucking insane.
All the desert-y stuff.
Yeah, but it's deserty, but it's also like a lot of brush too, and a lot of poison oak, I found out.
Oh.
Yeah.
How'd you find that out?
Because I came home and I looked like a leper. Ooh. Yeah. But did you guys ever deploy?
No.
What years were you in then?
2013 to 2018.
It's crazy to think about, like, because when I was in the military, like I went in 99, so it was pre the war on terror, but I was active duty on 9/11, and then everybody was deployed after that. And if you went in the military, you're deploying, period. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then around 2015, you started hearing from people that did their whole enlistments without a deployment.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of crazy after 20 years of that's what you do in the military, you know? You're probably better off though.
Yeah. I was really upset for a long time because I tried every deployment that came up, put my name in. And they only sent like the shitbag Marines. But,
I wonder if why that could be.
Yeah. But looking back, I'm very grateful it never happened, honestly.
You know, I look at deployments like this because I have a lot of people that either were in and didn't get deployed or didn't serve that are like feel bad about it. You know, it's like, you know how many people I know that are dead or don't have limbs?
Right.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of good that comes out of deployments and they're fun and war is like one of the most exhilarating things you'll ever go through as a human being. But the other side of that, there's no free lunch. So it's equally as fucked up and you go through a bunch of shitty stuff too. And so to just call it good and not go through that, I think it's probably a better option.
Yeah. Especially as a woman. I just don't think now that I know what I know, that I don't think that's my place.
Now, I lived on a Marine Corps base in Iraq with a bunch of women Marines. What were all the derogatory terms? Wookiee monsters.
Barracks bunny. It goes on. Guys are creative.
Oh, there's another one too. The WM. Fuck, I can't think about it. I'm on the spot. As soon as we stop recording, I'll be like, hey, this is what it is. So then did you know you were going to get out, or did the Marine Corps get you jaded halfway through and make you realize the military is kind of bullshit?
The military actually convinces you to stay in. They're like, the real world is scary, exactly like you were saying. You're never going to survive outside of government assistance, so stay in and re-enlist. So that was my plan. I was going to do Marine security guard so that I could travel. And then I met this guy, and he basically was like, if you do this, we'll never like be together. And I was like, well, that's not worth it. I like you more.
Dude, well, families, and this is just my opinion, but the military is not conducive to family life.
Correct.
I think people need to choose one or the other. But everybody that I know that tried to do both and deployed over and over and over, a bunch of crazy shit goes down. Your kids don't know you. Your wife becomes estranged. It's just like, and it shouldn't be a confusing concept to grasp. You're gone half the year. You're probably not going to be a very good parent.
Right.
You know?
Or partner.
Yeah, or partner.
Yeah.
I think the military is a great learning experience for young people, but to stay in, like I know guys that are my age that are still living that lifestyle. I can't even fucking imagine doing that.
Right. And I mean, I do give credit to it. Like I am where I am because of the Marine Corps.
No. Yeah. You need to do something that takes you outside of your comfort zone, makes you learn about yourself, all that stuff. Same as like the Peace Corps, right? But like, could you still be in Africa? You know what I mean? Like it needs to be a moment in time, something you experience, you grow from, and then you build off of that.
Absolutely.
I always say, I think the military is like one of the best platforms to take us the next step into life on. Like I got my degree, not that I ever made a fucking cent off of my degree, but because the military paid for it.
Yeah, same.
You know? And I think that if you want, like my buddy Sean Baker, he became a doctor. He became a surgeon through the military, So like you can literally use the military as a tool to get to wherever you want. But if you're just going blind and don't have a plan, that's probably where you're going to get stuck, Yeah.
And I got my degree there too. Like I flunked out of college after 2 years, had some student debt, and then finished my degree while active duty in business, Nanette. So I am qualified to teach it.
That's not what you do, though.
It's not what I do.
Okay.
And what do you do now?
I'm a software engineer.
In the Seattle area. So I can't talk shit about your coworkers because they might listen to this.
They probably would never listen to this. They would fire me for being on there.
Hey, you know what? You wouldn't be the first person
I know.
getting fired for being on the Endless Endeavor podcast.
You got jackets yet?
I had one of my coworkers that was a police officer with me do the show. He got fired.
He was on the show?
He got fired for doing the show, and he's like, "Man, it's the best thing that ever happened."
I was gonna say, he has no regrets.
No, because I get hit up by cops all the time. They're like, "Man, I'm thinking about leaving, but this, but that," and then when people finally pull the trigger, they're like, "I didn't fucking realize how bad that job sucked."
Yep.
And how much it was sucking your soul until you step away from it and then you can breathe again.
Right.
I always say it's like a literal and figurative weight coming off of you, because being in a fucking vest all day, every day. I mean, you knew you were a Marine for a while, right? Think about doing that your whole life. Your flak jacket, your magazines, all that shit. And it just feels like it's crushing your soul because it is,
Yeah.
So you say you got out in what year again?
2018.
Okay. All right, so this brings us to Jiu Jitsu.
The fun part.
The fun part, yeah, because it's
part.
women who train.
That's right.
I want to hear, and I know we talked about it a little bit at the fire when you guys were down at Guns and Gis, but I'm just going to pretend that we didn't talk.
Okay.
What made you want to get into Jiu Jitsu initially?
Well, my sister did it for a lot of years, and my sister's husband. So, and they both just sang the praises over and over for many, many, many years. And so they're intelligent people. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. And then I went one time and I watched and I was like, oh, looks real uncomfortable. I don't know. And then I didn't do it. And then of course you watch MMA and you know that jiu-jitsu solves a lot of those problems. And so, finally I was out in California, with my sister, and her coach just came up to me. I was watching them, in one of their classes, and he just came up and he was like, jiu-jitsu is really good for girls. It's the best thing to do, for a smaller person, which women typically are, to leverage. He's like, you should do it. That's all he said. You should do it. And I was like, I should just do it. So I came back home and I signed up. And I did it.
When you initially did that, did you give yourself like, I'm going to do it for 3 months?
1 year.
1 year.
I signed up for 1 year because I knew if I gave myself 3 months, I would probably quit.
I always tell people, I think the 3-month mark is where you start to stop hating it and start enjoying it a little bit.
Yeah. If you go enough in those 3 months, for sure.
Yeah.
Things start fitting together.
But 1 year is fucking legit.
Yeah.
Because you will know what's up with jiu-jitsu after 1 year of consistent training.
I knew after going in there and talking to the guys at the gym I go to is pretty amazing. The people are amazing. And
Dude, give them a shout out. Who are they?
So it's Alan Stockman is my black belt. It's Stockman Jiu Jitsu in Indianapolis, Greenwood, Indiana, on the south side of Indianapolis. It's a Carlson Gracie affiliate, and Alan is probably one of the most decent people I've ever known, and he just attracts the right kind of people.
Yeah.
The gym is made up of really good people that it's family. You know, you feel comfortable. I'm one of very few women that go there. It's not a very big women's membership there, and I feel comfortable with the people there, and he attracts good people, and in the bad we see themselves out.
Yeah, I talk about that with my academy all the time. I don't have to get rid of shitty people because we have such a good vibe at our gym that shitty people, they're on a different level than you guys, than like everybody else is. They see themselves out on their own.
Right. Or if it's a douchebag gym, they'll feel at home and they'll stay.
yeah, exactly.
Because there are those.
No, and I hate to admit that because like I tell people all the time, you have to train. And then I get people that write me. They're like, I went here. Well, Emily from Guns and Gis, she was one of them. She went and tried a couple gyms, and like she said that the girls were beating the fuck out of her on day one. And it's probably because she's small and she's cute, and it's like,
she's beautiful.
It's like this, it's this like, who's this on our turf, And it's like, if people are treating you that way, get out.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like when you're checking out a new gym, it's less about the jiu-jitsu and it's more about when you walk in and you start shaking people's hands, how do they treat you?
Right.
Do they welcome you? Does it seem like it's a loving environment? And do they want you? I think a good team wants to see you succeed, right? And you get that vibe right when you walk in. And you guys will get that. She's been to my gym, but you'll get that tonight. Like, that's the right academy. Because the thing is, I tell people all the time, we all have all these stresses of our lives, all this bullshit, your kids and your jobs and your debt and your bills. Most people, when they go to jiu-jitsu, it's so they can detach from all that stuff. And you want an environment where people can actually just go, I'm going to focus on me for a little bit and have fun, So when you said you were out in California, you made the decision. Did you have to do any research to come to the conclusion that your gym back home is the one that you wanted to go to? Or did it just kind of by chance, the local gym is legit?
So my sister did that research when she had come in town. She had researched the gyms around there, and she had gone there a couple of times, her and her husband.
Got it.
And so then did a little bit of intel, and there's not a person, you will not find a person in the jiu-jitsu world that will speak bad about my Alan, my black belt.
Actually, I heard that no, I'm kidding.
You heard wrong. So she, and I trust that. And I had been in and I had met him before. He's a genuine person. And that's why when I walked in and after talking to him and just saying this is what I'm thinking about, I knew right then that I was like, I'm signing up for a year. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to do it. And I knew that I could do that for a year. The people there were just like, oh, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to love it. And I hated it. It was hard for a while because it sucked.
So I think that's a good thing to talk about though, because everybody talks about how awesome jiu-jitsu is, and it is awesome on the back end.
Yes.
But now, I mean, I've been doing it for 19 years now. When I try and think about like being smashed as a white belt and feeling anxiety and feeling uncomfortable, it's almost like a memory that it doesn't even feel real anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's an important thing to talk about though, because if we're going to promote jiu-jitsu and it's the fucking greatest thing, and people go in there like, actually, that sucked. You have to understand that's part of the process.
Right.
Nothing worth having comes easy.
No.
Right?
Right.
So what was that process like then? Going in there and just realizing like, fuck, did I bite off more than I can chew? Or like, how did that feel?
Well, I had looked before and been like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be held down. I'm claustrophobic. Like if you want me to go red real fast, hold my hands down and don't let me like move. Oof, that makes me crazy. And so it happens in jiu-jitsu. That's a lot of what happens. And I had to figure out how to deal with that. So that's what I talk about when I say like it sucked. Like there are times that I walked out of there and bawled in the car, and I was just like, but I was like, I'll be back tomorrow, because that was me working through my shit, you know?
Yeah. How long would you say before that initial anxiety of being out of control took before, or do you still get that to this day?
Oh yeah. I get it way less now. I get it now more when I go to compete and get ready to step on the mat.
Oh, of course. Well, of course.
Different. But, it was a lot in the first 3 months. I didn't spar for the first 3 months.
Okay.
I told Alan, I was like, look, I want to learn this, and I want to get a little bit of understanding before I go out there. I'm not ready to get smashed.
No, and that's another good thing to bring up, because I tell all my students, sparring is the most important part of growing. Mm-hmm. But if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Right.
And so if you want to train and drill, get to know the people, and just have a presence there, dude, spar when you're ready.
And spar with whom
you're
ready.
But then the equal and opposite side of that is academies that don't let people spar for like 6 months. I think that's equally as bad.
Agree.
Because when you reach that point where you want to experience that, who am I to say, nope, not yet?
Right.
I just think that's
everybody's different.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
And
but he let me be different. He's like, you take it out. And then when I sparred with a guy that it was just kind of was like, Nanette, have you done this before? I was like, no. And he was like, do you want to try? And I was like, yeah. And I did it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. This is amazing. But then I would just go to I would just do 1 or 2 rounds every day after class. I'd do 1 or 2, and then I would go 1 or 2 or 3, you know? And then there are still people that I won't spar with.
Yeah.
And I think
there's people that I don't want to spar with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's a good point. The reality of like sparring is you can do it to learn or you can do it to win. And don't get me wrong, when I'm sparring with my teammates, I'm trying to beat them, but I'm trying to beat them using jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to beat them becoming a fucking frantic wild animal. Mm-hmm. And there's some guys that just have a hard time harnessing that. And it's like, dude, I could fucking go crazy too. Yep. But that's not going to make us, either one of us, become better.
Right.
You know? And so finding the right partners is one of the most important things. And I know that women do have to choose who they roll with. And in my academy, it's the same way. Like the girls they pick whoever they want. Yep. And there's plenty of guys that they're good guys. They have good hearts. Like they're not shitty people at all. They're good people, but they're 240 pounds and they're super athletes and they're rugby players and shit. And it's like, most of the girls will be like, you know what? I'll probably pass. So how long have you been doing it now?
June will be 3 years.
Okay. And how long was it to get a blue belt?
18 months.
I love that. That is exactly.
It's badass.
No, I competed at white and 2 days later got blue. And then I was just upset because I was like, I really wanted to compete and now I got to start at the bottom of this scary new belt. And they were just like, just do it. So I signed up and I competed a month later.
And you got gold?
I did. I got a few golds at blue. I competed 5 times last year.
Nice. You know, it's funny, like whenever people get promoted to blue belt, and I think that people should, because a promotion should come with a little bit of anxiety.
There's an expectation that comes with
that.
that.
Anybody that says like, oh, I'm ready. And I don't care if it's a promotion at work, if it's a promotion in jiu-jitsu, if you're the person raising your hand saying me, it's probably not you, right? But then the other side of that is, you know, have you heard the story when Greg Lappin got his blue belt?
Blue?
Yeah, so when he got his blue belt, did you guys see Tiago Bravo, the guy with dreadlocks that was with him this week? Mm-hmm. That was his first professor. He went white to blue belt under him. And because they were living in Dubai together.
Oh, okay.
And so when he got his blue belt, he goes to Tiago, he goes, hey, I'm not ready for this. And Tiago goes, bro, Greggy, man, you don't know a fucking shit. Awesome. You fucking ready, okay? You don't know shit. And I was like, yeah, if you say I'm not ready for this to your black belt, that is kind of telling him, hey, you don't know shit, right? Yeah. So he told him, you don't know shit.
Yeah. Just trust me.
Yeah, just trust the process. And that's what's so powerful about jiu-jitsu. It's not like you have to do a kata and then you have to show me 4 different chokes and 4 different escapes. It's just like, this person's a fucking blue belt. You're ready. And if you put your trust in who you're training under, it's a non-issue. Yep. You know?
I was just like, thank you very much. Great day. And we're going to keep on learning every day.
Man, I think blue belt's one of the most important promotions because it's like you've gotten by all of those initial anxious moments. You've made the decision to commit.
Yep.
And I'm glad that it took you 2 years because a rushed blue belt doesn't serve anybody.
Yeah.
And the longer jiu-jitsu goes on, the more McDojos we're seeing popping up.
Yep.
And it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm fine being blue for a while.
Yeah.
I'm not in any hurry.
No, I mean, I ended up progressing very fast, white through brown, just because I was young and I was strong and I was athletic and I was beating people. Mm-hmm. But beating people doesn't mean that you should be belting up. And then I met Joao as a brown belt.
Yeah.
And now it's a guy that I couldn't even come close to beating then, nor will I ever. And Joao held me at brown belt for 5 years. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's a good thing. Make it a long journey because you have nothing to gain by I'm a black belt now.
Right.
Like karate black belts that are 10 years old. What does that do?
I started jiu-jitsu at 42. If I ever become black, that'll be great. But I'm going to do this for as long as I can do it.
You're going to become black belt. I have no doubts. There's no secret. You just keep,
black belt.
You just keep showing up.
You probably won't be the oldest.
No, I know.
I wonder what the oldest person promoted to black belt is. I don't know.
I bet it's pretty old.
Yeah, I think there's someone in their 70s or something.
Wow.
So
I'll
what?
get there before then.
Maybe.
RheAnna, what made you start jiu-jitsu?
You.
Oh, me. Oh.
He saved the best for last.
So as you know, it's super hard to make friends, one, as an adult, and two, in Seattle in general.
I don't think it's hard to make friends as an adult. I think it's hard to make friends in liberal epicenters where everybody's fucking insane.
Yeah, that
So
could have been
Seattle.
it if I had to pinpoint it.
Yeah.
But then COVID happened and it made everything 10 times harder. So I was super isolated. Mike and I were just living on top of each other, not able to.
Yeah, see Nanette saying, hey, get on that mic. You don't have to look
she
at me.
wants to look at you.
Yeah, don't look at me.
You can look at him just angle.
Boom. But yeah, so I didn't have any way to like exercise during COVID. All the gyms were closed down. I started running. So I did like ultra marathons in the meantime. And then out of nowhere, Greg popped up on my Instagram and it's just this random dude saying, hey, if you're lonely or you don't have a community, go find a jiu-jitsu gym. I was like, I am lonely. I don't have a community. Help me. So sure enough, like the next day I went to the neighborhood jiu-jitsu academy and immediately fell in love with it.
Wow. That's so great.
He popped up on your Instagram and said, go find jiu-jitsu, you lonely woman.
Yeah. And the suggestion feed, like you
weren't following me or anything. It was
nothing. It was just meant to be.
Yeah.
I wonder why that happens. That's fucking weird.
Because she was saying, phone, I'm lonely. Show me somebody that can help me.
The hotlines, I was calling them.
I don't even remember what post that was. Do you?
I mean, I'm sure it's still there.
Yeah. I don't know. Instagram likes deleting my shit sometimes.
Oh, that's true.
You violated our community standards. So when you initially did that, I mean, being a Marine, you probably went through a lot of those, like through the MCMAPS program and stuff. Some of the anxiety of training with men or doing that kind of stuff. Do you feel like you'd worked some of that out, or do you have to go through that again?
No, I feel like I kind of had like a jump start on it for sure. I wasn't nervous. In fact, I felt probably overly confident. I was like, oh, I learned how to do MCMAP. I'm totally ready for this. But MCMAP is like super backwards and
then you got smashed.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was humbled very quickly. But the anxiety of training with men was never there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, when I was deployed, one of the guys on our base was like one of the head MCMAP instructors. And then we rolled and I just smashed him and he's like, I didn't know jiu-jitsu could be like this. Oh, we need to train every single night. And we did, it was cool. It wasn't like any ego, but it's just having that feel of the next level of jiu-jitsu. If you want to learn and you want to be better, that's like, that excites you. You know what I mean? That's a good thing.
Yeah. And if anything, I would say the Jiu-Jitsu Academy was more refreshing because like you said, there's nothing sexual in the Jiu-Jitsu gym. But Marines make everything sexual, right? So it was like a step up from that. And I was like, oh, this is kind of nice.
How did you find your gym? You just went to the whatever was local, and you're still there, or you're on a slight jiu-jitsu hiatus right now.
Yeah,
for reasons that we won't discuss on the air.
That's fair.
Okay,
I don't mind saying it.
Okay, then say it then.
Yeah, I'm expecting my first child.
There we go. Hey.
Yay.
If you're listening, Mom, surprise. No, I'm just kidding.
If your mom listens to this podcast, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So it's just, I know there are tons of women out there who train. It's just, I don't feel super comfortable doing it.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, I think it was before we started recording, like it doesn't matter how careful you're being. You can fall to the side and all your weight lands on someone, and now you just fucking potentially hurt yourself or your child for what?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And jiu-jitsu's not going anywhere.
Right.
Like, don't think like, oh man, I mean, she didn't start until she was 42. Yeah, you can take a 10-year break and you'll still be good.
Hopefully
You'll
it's
still
just
be way
10
ahead of
months.
me. You can take a 20-year break and still be ahead of me.
So, I mean, here's the thing though. It's like, you can take as long as you need away from jiu-jitsu, or injuries can take you away from jiu-jitsu. There's been a few deployments where I couldn't find anyone to train, which is weird because most deployments you have a full mat room, but there's been a couple where everyone's like, "Oh, fuck jiu-jitsu, dude." And what you realize is when you come back to jiu-jitsu, it's almost like it's been waiting there for you. It's like an old friend.
Aww.
And it usually, and I don't know how this happens, but I feel like I get better. Like when I take time off of the mats and then I come back, I'm somehow better. And you hear that story a lot from people. And so if you suck when you get back, just know that that's not how it works for everybody.
I'm behind.
Yeah, but you also, what, 4 or 6 months in or something like that? So you're still pretty new.
Yeah, I had 6 months.
Okay.
So all that white belt anxiety you were talking about, very fresh.
Did you feel comfortable sparring like right away? And did you do that at your academy?
Yeah. So a little backwards, same thing. My professor was like, you should wait, not 6 months, but at least 1 month minimum. I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
She was ready to spar day one.
So I started going to the morning classes, which was a lot smaller. And the professor then was like, do you want to spar? And I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to. He was like, fuck yeah, you are. Like, get over here. So I was like, sweet. So then started sparring pretty much after like 2 weeks, I think.
And how long would you say before it went from feeling like a fish flopping around on the mats to actually understanding what the fuck's going on?
It kind of was like an emotional roller coaster. So it was like waves. So if I was less consistent, I felt more fishy, right? Like I was flopping a lot more. But then after like 2 months, I was like, no, if I'm going to take this seriously, I need to really take it seriously. And I was going like 3 or 4 times a week. And then I would say like at like month 3 or 4, maybe even 5, I felt pretty confident.
Okay. That's my magic number is 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I say 2 days a week, you can maintain. 1 day a week, don't waste your fucking time.
No chance.
Like this has to be something that you commit to. And 3 days a week is 3 days a week or more. But at our age, much more than that, at least for me. Like obviously I'm at my gym a lot more because I'm training, but I don't spar live anymore other than Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Because if I do it more than that, I can't fucking get out of bed in the morning.
Then he's in that ice bath and in that sauna.
Yeah, I do all that shit. I do all that shit and I still feel like I got ran over by a truck. Yeah. So do you think you said it kind of, you said, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu as long as I can.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I would say forever, but are they going to have it in the nursing home? Maybe. I'm not sure. I intend to go out and blaze a fire. So
you're not going to the nursing home.
That's true. I know. I'm not.
You know who goes to the nursing home is the 9-to-5ers.
That's right.
And then they just continue it.
That's right.
Like, you want to know what some people do? Do you know cruise ships are cheaper than nursing homes?
Just go live on a cruise ship.
Yeah. So when I was a police officer, the port of Seattle, the port was in our jurisdictions where the cruise ships would come. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, but it's not uncommon for them to come into port and be like, all right, in room, whatever, you got a old dead guy. And talking to people, it's like, there's a percentage of old people that instead of going into nursing homes,
Good for them.
they just go live on cruise ships forever.
Love that.
Because it's all the food you want. It's like a lot of those cruises are all encompassing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like everything you need. And then Roger that. Just gonna go fucking explore until I die.
I'm doing that.
Isn't that what you should do?
Absolutely.
You know?
I think I'm gonna do that.
But I'll tell you though, those things are kind of like big, giant floating hotels. And having worked those as a police officer, like they want some police officers out front because you have a line of 5,000 people waiting to get on, and they're all carrying their luggage and shit and the sun's beating down on them. It looks miserable. And sometimes it takes like 3 hours. You know?
Oh, I've been on lots of cruises. Hours.
Oh,
yep.
It looks gross.
It's fun.
Is it fun?
The Alaskan cruise was the best. It was amazing.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
We went from Seattle
Up the inside passage?
all the way up to
Sitka?
Juneau. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to live in Sitka.
Yeah. I did the helicopter tour of the glacier, and it was amazing.
How long was that?
7 days, I want to say, a week.
Nice.
Yeah, we had 4 stops. Did that Yukon train out to the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it was beautiful.
All right. Well, maybe I need to stop talking shit on them because whenever I see them, I'm just
cruise.
like...
A lot of the other ones, my brother went on a Mediterranean cruise. He was like, it was the most amazing thing ever. So I think your typical Caribbean thing maybe, yeah, but I would do an Alaskan cruise every year.
One of my bucket list items is to sail around the world.
On a sailboat.
On my own sailboat with just my wife and a couple friends. Maybe my kids if they want to go. I think that would be fucking rad.
That would be rad.
And the thing about it, I've done a lot of research on it. Like, as far as expenses, like people that are doing world cruises can live on like $500 a month because you're not fucking spending money on gas and you can catch a lot of your own food.
Yep.
And so it's just like little internet expenses. And the other thing is like with all the technology they have now, this guy that is currently sailing the world, I was reading his blog, he goes, you can have a real-time weather update to any square meter on planet Earth.
Wow.
And so
you can't go wrong.
That's what I'm saying. For you to get,
that's
what they said. They said if the days of people getting lost in storms and fucking going out and in like crazy seas and stuff or storms, it's because they're idiots.
Is that Bermuda Triangle still real though?
I don't know.
I think I'd avoid that 1 meter.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the
go
Bermuda Triangle and tell everyone it was bullshit.
Let us know.
You won't come back.
Could you live blog that so that we at least get the footage?
Why do you want to see me sink?
I don't. I just want to get the information.
Speaking of boats sinking, did you guys ever read Ernest Shackleton's Endurance?
No.
No? Oh man. Probably the best survival story of all time. And it was a boat that went to Antarctica like 115 years ago.
Yes.
And it hit an iceberg and it sank.
Did we just learn about this? Did they just find it?
They found it like 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago.
Condition?
Yes. So do you know
the Endurance, yes.
Those motherfuckers, when their boat sank, they bailed onto a glacier.
Yes.
And they lived on that glacier for 2 years.
Oh.
Eating seals and burning the fat for heat.
Oh my gosh.
And in Antarctica, like the fucking winters, it's dark for 6 months. So you want to talk about like poor me? Go float around on an iceberg in pitch black for 6 months.
Who wrote the book?
Ernest Shackleton wrote the book.
And then he lived?
They lived. They fucking made it out of there.
Have to read that now.
They made it out of there
Now
living on a fucking iceberg for 2 years. Like, yeah.
We're such pussies.
We're such pussies.
The worst.
Like, that's why you have to go do hard shit.
Yes.
That's why the 14 Peaks documentary is like the greatest thing I've ever seen. Cause it's like, all you guys have seen it, right?
No.
I'm so sad.
I'm so sad.
It's the best piece of television ever made.
Got it.
Period. Because it's exactly what it is. It's guys going out there and doing the hardest shit humanly possible and still maintaining a good energy and a good outlook on life and just living hard.
Yeah, I have to watch that. Have you read the book, The Comfort Crisis?
Nope.
Oh, you need to read that.
Okay, now I'm the one that needs to fucking...
Well, we both... I mean, somebody recommended it to me, but it's basically a book written by a guy who goes into all the reasons why... The reason why our world is in such a shit show right now is because people are too comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like, why do people have depression and anxiety? Like, that's ridiculous because you're not running after and killing your food and
100%.
Focusing on survival and doing hard shit.
Yeah.
You're focusing on doing hard shit, you don't have time to be depressed.
No, I was talking to my kids about that recently. I was like, I didn't see... I'm living in Ramadi where like people are getting blown up every day. You don't see people telling themselves a sad story. Oh, poor me.
No, you don't.
You know why? They don't need a sad story in their head because their fucking life is a sad story.
They're trying to live.
You know?
Just trying to survive out here.
No, that's the downfall of our country is that everything's too easy.
Yep.
You leave your house that's 70 degrees, then you get in your car that's 70 degrees.
That's right.
And
you don't even have to leave your house nowadays.
No, yeah, exactly.
You can just have everything delivered, work remotely. You don't have to see people. You don't have to ever go get off your couch. to eat, to live, to work.
I went down to Los Angeles to do a podcast. It was the episode I did with Paul DeGelder. I don't know if you know who that is or not. He was a Australian Navy. I forget exactly what the term was, but like not a SEAL, but like a rescue swimmer or something. And a bull shark ate half his body in Sydney Harbor.
Oh my gosh.
And it ate his arm and his leg. And the dude is cool as fuck. Like he is seriously, when you meet that guy, he's like, no sad story about me. He's all jacked and fucking like just getting after it still. And he's a big conservationist guy, and he's like out diving and doing shit with sharks all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Still, after the shark encounter.
Yeah, no, he told me, he goes, dude, getting bit and getting half my body eaten, best thing that ever happened to me. Because his life has changed so much for the better. Yep. He's on like Discovery Channel. He hosts shows and stuff. Like he's living a good life now. As a result from getting fucking eaten, right? But it's now what made me bring that up? I forgot. Where were we going with that?
Comfort crisis.
The comfort crisis.
Well, I said, and you don't have to ever get off your couch or leave your
yeah,
house.
that's right. So I'm down in Los Angeles doing a podcast with him. He leaves. I'm sitting in my hotel room, and I'm like, I'm fucking hungry, and so I start looking on my phone, and there's a Chipotle 1 mile away, and I'm like, I don't want to walk a mile. I don't want to walk a mile for dinner. And I was like, dude, what's this? Uber Eats. People do this. Like, I've never done that before. I'm going to see what this is all about. So I download the app, and then I fill out all the shit that you do. And a burrito that's supposed to be like $12 becomes $35. Yep. But I'm like, I'm already done with the process. Whatever. Click. And then it gets dropped off. They don't even you don't even see them.
Nope.
You just get a little notification on your phone. Your burrito's at your door. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. And I walk out there, and I picked it up, and I instantly felt like a fat, lazy piece of shit. Yeah. I was like, dude, some other man had to go bring your shit to you.
Yep.
Because you didn't want to walk
1 mile away.
1 mile. And I remember thinking like, man, there's fucking people that probably do this every single meal, every single day.
Yes, they do.
And half of it's rooted in laziness, and the other half's rooted in fear, because if I go outside, I'm going to get sick, And so
I tried it one time, this DoorDash or Uber Eats thing. And the person that brought it to my door was so disgusting. The individual was like this obese, disgusting trash in the car, and I was just like, that's the last time I ever do this. What is wrong with me? I'm going to get my ass in my car and drive to the sushi place or whatever. But I was just like, I will never use one of those again. Never.
Yeah, but like, think about where we're at as a society.
Right.
When literally anything that we used to have to do as human beings, and when I say like we used to have to, this isn't like ancient fucking times. 100 years ago.
Right.
Every single thing we did, if you needed to be warm, you needed to fucking make sure that you chopped enough trees down and you split enough fucking logs to run your fireplace through the winter. Bunch of work. If you wanted to eat, you're either going to fucking forage, you're going to grow your foods, which that's a substantial amount of work in itself, or you're going to go hunting. Right. And like every single thing that used to create comfort, there was no free lunch. There was an equal and opposite reaction to that. And that was you had to put in the work ahead of time for that to work. Right. Now.
But you did that. And that was,
that's what I'm saying. That was life.
That's the comfort crisis talks about that, where they talk about like when you had to do these things, you didn't have time for. Now we just are like, well, I don't have to do any of that. So I guess I can just sit around and feel sorry for myself.
Or watch Netflix all day long.
Or that.
It's funny. Like I always talk shit about Netflix on the show because it's like Netflix and chill, right? It's like, oh, just sit around and watch Netflix. But I actually watch quite a bit of Netflix myself. So I try and be honest with my fucking listeners. And I just watched a show on the rise of the Ottoman Empire. And so I try
good stuff.
Yeah, no, I try and watch things that aren't just complete mush, you know? Mm-hmm. But the rise of the Ottoman Empire, it's funny. I'm watching Netflix. I'm sitting here being a lazy American, but then it makes me think like, dude, this guy, his name was Mehmed the Conqueror. He is the Ottoman or the Islamic Sultan that overthrew the city of Constantinople. 23 armies tried to do it, and he was the first one over a course of 1,700 years. And then he was the one that finally did it. And he had that dream at 12 years old. And so since he was a little boy, because his dad was, they're called sultans. It's like the emperor, right? His dad was in power, so he knew he was going to be in power. And he's like, it's going to
be on my watch.
I will take Constantinople. And he did. And he changed the name to Istanbul. So it's modern day Istanbul. But that same time I was watching that is when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and the world went nuts. And I couldn't help but think, I'm like, dude, Mehmed the Conqueror laid siege to Constantinople for like 2 months, battering the walls with artillery every single day. He had an 80,000 person army, and they would send waves in to fight Constantine's men, and like almost every single one of them would die. And then they'd pull back and they'd batter the city some more and send another wave. Yep. That used to be the world. That used to be normal life. And now the whole world
gives a shit about
one man slapping another man.
Yep.
But on the flip side,
this is not my time to be alive.
Imagine if a 12-year-old boy came up to you on the street and was like, my dream is to take over the United States.
I would be like, who's your dad? I want him to release custody of you to me, and I want to raise you as my own.
Because that's what he wants to do.
Oh, yes. I am not fucking shy about it. This government needs to be overthrown. Yep. Yeah. And if the FBI wants to listen to this and come and knock on my door and talk to me, I'll ask you to look at yourself in the fucking mirror and ask yourself one question. Are the people that are in charge of this country serving us in our best interest? No. The answer is no.
Nobody can say yes to that.
Nobody can say yes to that. So if we know that they're not serving us in our best interests, it's probably time for them to fucking go. Yeah. And everyone says, vote them out, vote them out, vote them out. Okay. Well, let's see how long that takes. Mm-hmm. You know? Do you guys ever listen to Andy Frisella's podcast? He just had a guest on named Eric Greitens, who was a Navy SEAL, and then he was also the governor of Missouri. And Eric Greitens was saying, this isn't conspiracy theory, this is fucking fact. He ran an audit on state bills where people were being taxed for infrastructure. This is the new infrastructure bill. And so when you hear infrastructure bill, what comes to mind? Roads, bridges. You know what I mean? Like literally, that's what we think of when we think of infrastructure, right? But of course, the infrastructure bill is 7,000 pages, and buried way in the back of it is this thing and that thing. And then this is going to help this person's reelection campaign. Then this is going to this lobbyist and these special interest groups. He goes, so after his audit, when you dissect everything line by line, literally less than 42 cents per dollar is going to infrastructure. The rest is going to special interests. So these politicians are robbing us. Yep. That's it. There's a reason Nancy Pelosi is worth $120 million being a public servant.
Who even writes 7,000 pages?
All the bills are 7,000 pages.
Like no one's reading it. That's
of course they're not. And they know that's why they're 7,000 pages. And a lot of times they'll produce the bill and then they'll be like, we're going to vote on this in 24 hours.
Get to reading.
Here's the cliff notes.
So yeah, I mean, we need a massive change. And someone told me, they said it's either going to be by the bullet or by the ballot. And I love that because it's like,
aren't they all though?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see this country turn around in a peaceful manner.
For sure.
I like teaching Jiu Jitsu. I like hanging out with my kids. But is that a realistic? These people won't fucking stop until they fear us.
Until they are stopped.
Yeah.
Or until they put us all in jail.
Well, they can try.
Yeah.
I'm unable to be put in a fucking cage. I've already made that commitment in my own head. But I mean, was it Thomas Jefferson that's like, when the government fears its people, you have liberty, and when the people fear the government, you have tyranny. And fucking everybody's afraid of the government now. Yeah, and it's because you're all pussies.
Yeah, I pay my taxes because I'm afraid of them.
Here's the thing though, like taxes, I mean, it is fucking legalized theft. It's what 100%. It is, right? But I think most rational human beings that want to partake in a society can understand, hey, if you take whatever 15% of my income for public schools and for our infrastructure and for things to make our society function, I don't think there's a reasonable person that would be like, nope, I'm not willing to do that. Like, I like partaking in society.
For sure.
That is not why people are mad about taxes.
Right.
100%.
People are mad about taxes because, I mean, Californians now are above 60%. 60, when you take all the different aspects of their life, that means you're working for the first fucking 7 months of the year.
Until August.
You're a
government.
fucking government
That's it.
employee. That's a crazy thing to think
Horrible.
about. People should be upset about that. And like, something that drives me fucking nuts. Like when I got my new 4Runner, I sold my old 4Runner to a family friend, but he's like a son to me. Like, I've been very present in this boy's life since he was like 8 or 9. And he's 17 now, right? So he feels like a son. I can't give a car to him because when he goes to register it, they say, what's the blue book value? Oh, what do you pay for it? This much. No, you didn't. There's no way you could pay that much. You have to pay taxes on this much.
Right.
Motherfucker, I should be able to give a car to whoever I want to.
Yes. You should be able to give anything to anybody.
Of course.
My parents can't give me money
Isn't that
without being taxed on a certain,
I know.
a certain dollar amount. It's like, what's that about?
And so I think living trusts, that's the way to get around that. But do your parents trust you enough for that?
No.
No. That's what my mom did. She put everything in a trust and we're trustees. So like all her wealth is now accessible to us.
It's yours.
But we're not going to fucking use it, you know? But that way, I think that's a way you can circumnavigate the bullshit, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, they're just going to fucking rob us blind.
I know.
But let's go back to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And women in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, you guys are getting me going on a tangent. Just wait.
Coffee and politics. Let's go.
Just wait till we start drinking Guinness tonight.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be fucking rad.
There's also going to be bourbon involved, just so you know, for me.
For me as well, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay, roger that.
I got a DD.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
And
We're starting at 7:30. We'll be fine.
And I can walk home. It's like 10 miles, but I can still walk home.
I mean, he won't walk to Chipotle.
Not for a
1
burrito,
mile.
no, but for a bit.
You know what's funny is like when I got out of the military, because walking is what you do in the military, right? Like
In Africa.
I used to be like, yeah, I can walk home. It's 4 miles.
Right.
Okay. You know?
I still think like that. And I'm like, I could just walk there. It's fine. And then you see somebody walking. You're like, why is that person walking? Depending on where you live.
I want to hear your guys, and don't just fucking praise it because it's our program, but I haven't had a female guest on the show talking about the Guns and Gis program itself. And so I'm curious, like, what were you expecting going into it? And then how did that, like, were your expectations met, or was it very different, or just kind of unpack that? Because I think it's important as we continue to grow this show. I want to appeal to the female market more, just because I think it's a better dynamic. Like, our class was awesome. How it was like, 40% females or something, you know? So yeah, unpack that for me a little bit.
I'm going to go first. Go ahead. Okay. So I think I may have told you this, but I found out about the whole Guns and Gis things from one of my coaches. He sent it to me last fall. He just said, this would be perfect for you. And I looked into it and I was like, it does sound awesome, but a little bit of anxiety because I was like, I'm only a blue belt. Maybe I need to be a higher belt. I'm okay, shooting. But the gi part of it still made me nervous, because I was just like, maybe it's a bunch of dudes and me. Maybe somebody's gonna be like, oh man, I got to go with the girl. She's only a blue belt, blah. So when the class came around in the spring, I signed up immediately because I was like, you know what, I have a little anxiety, but I'm just going to go do the hard shit. Fuck it. I had taken other survival classes and pistol classes. And I had that little anxiety on the front end. Like, are they going to think I'm an idiot? And I'm just like, forget it, whatever. Maybe they will, but I'll figure it out. So I had no idea what to expect. And looking at the pictures from the ones before, there were mostly men. There were a handful of girls at them. And I was like, and usually the girls that you meet are going to be great. And we'll just figure it out. And so my expectation was I'll just go in and see how it goes. But I didn't know any of you guys. I started following you once I signed up, but I hadn't done a lot of research. I knew that you were well qualified to teach both, jiu-jitsu and the shooting part of it. But I figured there'd be a lot of law enforcement people and, a lot of dudes. And then I think that Emily maybe had posted something where she had a picture with 4 different women that were coming. And I was like, oh, this list, there's gonna be at least 4 of them. And there's me. So that's 5. And then of course I convinced my sister to go. So I was like, okay, then at least I know there's a pack of us, like we get their
did you follow Emily?
No.
Okay.
I think I got introduced to her somehow through this.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
No, I started following her after I found out she must have posted something and tagged Guns and Gis or something. Cause I had started following
I see.
And that's how I found out about her. And then of course we went and expectations exceeded. And I'm not just saying this because you are running it. Like I had the most amazing weekend doing 2 things that I love to do with people. The fact that you guys started out and you're like, look, we have 8 women out of here out of 30 or whatever, or whatever it was, however many people were in the class, 24, there's like a third of us. You or Greg were like, we take care of our women. They came to train. They have to be safe. We don't want nobody's fucking around here. Like you guys made it real clear.
Yeah. No, I like that you bring that up because I want to get feedback on that portion because me and Lappin sat down and we're like, okay, we have a bunch of young ladies here that we know are entrusting us with their safety and their comfort over the weekend. And you just never know who you're going to get in a course, right?
Yep.
Whoever signs up shows up.
Right.
So it's like 9 times out of 10, if you want to dedicate a weekend to becoming a better person, regardless if you're a white belt or a black belt or a first day shooter or a SWAT team fucking sniper, if you dedicate a weekend saying, I want to be a better person, you usually get a pretty good human being there.
Agree.
But there's always those outliers, right? And so we were like, because we have a bunch of young ladies attending this one, let's make it very clear right when we start, without straight up saying, like at my academy, I'll say, if you fuck with my ladies, you're fucking with me. Like I can be more aggressive, but we couldn't.
I feel like that was the message.
That was the message.
You didn't have to say it that way.
But yeah, exactly. And I remember when I said it, I was like, listen, this may sound like a chauvinist or something, but men and women are different.
Yeah.
And in our house, we take care of our ladies.
Right.
And in our house, it's up to every single guy here to take part in making sure they feel comfortable.
Right.
And we had the expectation that most of the men there would anyways.
Agree.
But we think just like putting that out there left no room for error.
100%.
And then like, you don't want Joao on your bad side. You know what I mean? Like I feel like just putting it out in the universe, we wanted it to become a reality.
Yep. And you guys made it very clear where all 3 of you stood. And I think everybody there looks up to all 3 of you there, men and women. And so you're right. No doubt about it of where, and most of those women were white belts too.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know that they had a lot of training under their belt. I think some of them were brand new. So it's like,
no, like Rachel didn't ever do anything.
Right.
And Emily.
So for the very first introduction, better not be, bad.
Yeah.
Like you want it to be it was very inviting. And I thought that was one of the best weekends I've ever had.
That makes me so happy.
I will be back.
That's awesome.
You know what? A spot just came open for the 1 in 2 weeks. And I was just like,
well, November 6th is our next one.
Is it?
And
okay,
it's going live here maybe tomorrow.
I'll be there.
Yeah. And that's another reason why we don't require sparring. And because our whole vision with this program is to show people what being on the path feels like. And then you got to go home and be on the path.
Right.
We can't do shit for you in 3 days.
Yeah. But do you see how many people have changed since that class?
No.
How many people have been posting like the things they've been doing since the weight loss and the like
no, I
getting
love
into the
it.
training, and
I
I'm
love
just like,
it.
Man, it's so inspirational.
It's and that was our vision. It's like, because when the 3 of us sat down and discussed making something, we're like, okay, we need to be very, very careful in telling people like, come train with us for 3 days and then this, and then you'll be able to do that. Because if you just train for 3 days, you won't be able to do anything.
No.
Like every single thing we taught you on the range and everything you learned on the mats, if you're day 1, like for you as a blue belt, some of the tricks and tips, like it might work real world when you're sparring because you already have that base of training, right? But if you're brand new, if you go home from Guns and Gis and you get jumped in the parking lot that Monday night, nothing that you did over that weekend is going to serve you.
Right.
And that's because it takes a long time through time and pressure. You have to put a substantial amount of time being uncomfortable and then you grow.
Right.
And so when we decided to do this, we did it from a place, we said, how do we set people on the path? Instead of saying like, we can do something for you in 3 days, how do we make the foundation of what we're trying to do, set people on the path? And what we found is, one thing that we said is the course needs to come with a gi. Because if you come and you attend the course and now you have a gi sitting on the back of your chair in your living room, you can say, oh, fuck, I guess I could go find a jiu-jitsu academy, you know, because most of the courses that have shooting and fighting, it's like, oh, get in a suit and hold this gun, and then this guy's going to tackle you. And then you're going to have to escape, and you're going to have to get to your feet and shoot the target a couple times. There's value in that once you're already at a certain level. I just don't think there's value in that at an introductory level. You know? Now, with that said, I do think you can build your foundation quite a bit over 3 days.
Agree.
What about the course did you really enjoy from the like an actual instructional aspect?
On the mat or on
Both,
the
either.
range?
Yeah, either.
I mean, you even said you got Greg, which is probably one of the best.
He's the best firearms instructor on planet Earth, but I'm biased.
Yes.
So I want to hear it from you.
So I've had multiple different firearms instructors, and it's just like he's very easy to understand. He's passionate about it, and he breaks it down into this is why this won't work, and this is why you wouldn't think about that. Like the one where you're pressing up against somebody, and you know you might not fire because your slide is back. You know, if you're under somebody, you have to, you know, like all of that stuff where I was just like, that kind of stuff where I was just like, man, those little things that I took away may save my life.
Yeah.
Very easily could, you know? So like, he's a great instructor. And then you got Joao, who's like, nobody can argue about that, you know? And so even though he taught us some basic stuff, like that whole transition thing that we did, like I go back and I watch that video and I'm just like, man, there's so much good here of getting into position and then having like, you're in mount and then, you know, you get out of that and you escape. And it's like, having that caliber of instructor on both of those fronts.
Yeah. No, I tell people like when I met Joao, I was training under Buchecha, who's one of Joao's best friends. And then Buchecha went pro and he stopped coaching and shut his gym down. And then he became the 13-time world champion. So like that worked for him, right?
Yeah.
But I had already met Joao and I was like, I have to train under this guy.
It's easy to learn under him.
And I drove 50 miles out of my way every single night to train under him. That's how good he is. Like he's obviously his resume speaks for itself for how good his actual jiu-jitsu is.
Right.
But your own jiu-jitsu versus how you teach and coach are very often two different things.
100%.
And his energy,
yes.
you walk into the mats.
His joy
yes.
for life, you can feel that. And I'm just like, man, he loves this. You can tell that he loves people. He wants us, and he sees you having a good time. He's having a good time. It's just that synergies. And I'm like, man, this is awesome.
I love that.
It was awesome. It made me really happy.
It was super fun too.
Yeah.
So
and then you meet people and it's like, whatever.
Well, no, that's
why I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, that's another aspect of it that we thought was important because it's like coming from either the military or even jiu-jitsu, you start to build your tribe of people. And we're realizing one of the reasons why so many people are in a shitty place emotionally is because they don't have a tribe.
They lack community.
They lack a support group. Right. And so that's why when we started the Facebook group, we're like, I think it'd be important for all the people to attend to be able to communicate. Mm-hmm. And what that's going to do, it's going to create a network for accountability.
Yep.
And fuck, you just said it. How many people are posting like, dude, this is what I ate today.
Yep.
I'm down this much weight.
Yep.
And it's like,
I got promoted.
Yeah.
You have a whole community of people that are cheering for you.
And I
love the fact
it's
that you
not
guys,
bullshit.
No.
It's fucking real.
Yeah.
You know?
And not everybody's commenting on every single time, but you have a group of people there that feel connected. You even said it like you were like, you guys need to network. I love that you guys catered food, like had us for dinner 2 nights in a row and then just be like, see ya. We got to hang out with you guys, the instructors, you know, and actually get to know you as people and each other. And then you were like, make sure you get each other's numbers so you have a couch to crash on whenever you're in their town. And I'm like, that's yes, you know, and like I'm crashing on her couch tonight. And it's not because I'm in town. I'm here to see her.
I thought you said you were crashing in their bed tonight.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's after the bourbon.
But, you know, I have my family reunion in June in Northern Georgia, and I'm going to go train with Chief and his guys at their gym.
See?
And I sent those guys a message, and I was like, I'm going to be here. And they're like, it's 1 hour away. PJ was like, it's 1 hour away. Come and train. I'm like, I'll be there. So that kind of connectivity that you get and just keep it going, have each other's backs when you're in those towns, you know, who's around. It's like, these are the people I want to be, and connected to.
And super small world. Remember Jeremiah and Mike?
Of course.
I'm going to live 10 minutes from them in Connecticut in 2 weeks.
And they already got a gym and everything?
Exactly.
Nice.
Now I have a community and I'm not even there yet.
Yeah, Jeremiah and Mike wrote me an email because I guess they used to like work in the logging industry. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, if you need help with your property,
there you go.
We'd love to fly out and like spend a week with you. And it's like, man, these are real relationships. Mm-hmm. And me and Greg and Joao, we almost feel like, man, like Guns and Gis is our favorite weekend ever. And it's not like,
let's do it every weekend.
Yeah, I know, right? Like we can't wait. We're already texting like, dude, because I'm flying out in a week for class 5 5.
5, I know.
And it's like, man, like, how does this work? This isn't work, you know? But it goes back to what we said at the beginning. Like if you're passionate about something, you can actually build things that both serve your community and serve yourself. Yep. That's a real possibility.
Yeah, you guys are building something pretty amazing here. And I think that the fact that you have your 3 inputs and your perspectives to kind of do it intentionally, and you're making it, welcoming to women, welcoming to newcomers, people, the fact that it's said on there, you don't ever have had to shot a gun before. You don't ever have had to be on done jiu-jitsu before. I was just like, okay, then I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, but there are people there that had never done jiu-jitsu before that walked in there. And I was like, that's amazing that you came to this camp and you have never done it before with these badasses here.
Well, and the coolest thing that I'm seeing from that aspect is like, because I get emails all the time. It's like, dude, I don't think I know enough to attend. It's like, no. We're selling it as an introduction to combat pistol shooting and grappling. Yeah. Literally an introduction. You don't need to know anything. But the people with the most experience usually take the most away. Like I had my friend Kyle McCutcheon, who owns a jiu-jitsu studio. He's been a black belt forever. And he attended and he goes, man, watching how Joao instructs, that in itself is worth every cent that I paid because he's taking little nuggets on how to teach other people jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
So it's like, even if you're high level, maybe you're not going to learn a new technique personally. You probably will, just because jiu-jitsu is an endless ocean, you know? But like, you can hone your instructing ability by watching how Greg and Joao do that stuff.
Absolutely. Yes.
No, I always tell them, it's like, man, how did I get on the crew with you guys? Like, you motherfuckers are like literally the best in their craft. And then I was like, and then I just got a big Instagram.
Bring them together. Together. You're the comedic.
I'm the glue. We always say that. Like, Greg, you're the glue.
That's right. You go.
With expectations of the course?
No, just whatever.
Course? Back to like it being an introductory thing. While that made me feel more comfortable on the jiu-jitsu side, it made me very uncomfortable on the gun side at first. Because you can get hurt in jiu-jitsu, right? And it's like maybe 6 months off an injury, you'll live.
Yeah.
But as a person who's never shot a pistol before and defensively, I'm going to get shot. Like there's no way.
By having a bunch of yahoos on the range with you?
That I never met before, complete strangers. So that's what I was most nervous about. But day one, that was completely squashed. Like it was completely safe. The way they broke down everything. Greg, step by step, showed everything that was expected. And then there's the cadre, right? They're right behind you. They're watching everyone. It was so much fun. And I was able to feel safe and build that confidence. So I just love the shooting part so much.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have not, and I shouldn't even say this out loud, right? But we haven't even had someone flag someone yet. Like just a fucking turn. Oh, hey, what? You know?
I think that goes to the instruction though.
I think it is extremely important to, when we all get there in the morning, exactly like Lappin does.
Yes.
All right, listen up.
Safety brief.
Let's go ahead and just go through all the firearm fundamental safety rules, our left and right lateral limits, our expectations for the day. If somebody gets hurt, we're going to use this truck, and you just go through all that stuff
every day.
every single day,
Yes.
because what that does is sets the tone for the day.
Yep.
And I've had buddies attend other high level courses that I obviously won't name on the air, because I like most of the other courses out there and they're ran by good people. But even good people, like if they start to cut corners, people feel it. And it was one of our guys that attended Guns and Gis. He said, man, the safety briefings in the mornings, like day one was like blah, blah, blah. And then day two was like, you know what? You're all fucking grown adults. Don't do stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then does that work for everybody? Don't do stupid shit.
No.
And everyone's like, yeah, because what are they going to say? Who's going to raise their hand and be like, actually, I'd prefer the full safety brief.
Right.
No one's going to say that.
No.
And so not only are you taking that away from people of actually setting the tone for the day, but what you're doing is, in my opinion, you're saying your product isn't extremely important and extremely valuable.
Right.
Because if it's important enough to do on day one, it should be important enough to do on day two. And if I'm going to cut corners when you're giving your hard-earned money and, more importantly, your fucking time.
Yeah.
If you're giving me your time and I'm going to cut corners, I feel like that's a bad message to send.
Overall. Right.
You know?
Yeah, I thought that you guys, so I've been to a lot of these trainings with I've told you about other people who run similar things for the shooting who do it in a very safe manner. And what I noticed with you guys is that you did the safety brief, and made it really clear. But I think that you guys had enough people on your side that did an assessment of the abilities of the people in the group, and the people that maybe were brand new, there was always somebody kind of on them.
We give them special attention.
And you could hear the reminders. Yes. And you can hear the reminders. Hey, eyes. Hey, finger off the trigger. Hey, XYZ. And I could hear that, over and over. And I like the fact that it was audible so that the rest of us could be reminded, hey, eyes, ears, keep it down range, keep your finger off. I've been doing it long enough. I'm not going to have my finger on the trigger, but people who are a little bit newer could hear that and hear those reminders, which I thought was really, really good. I felt safe. I was like, these guys at this level are not going to allow an accident. Safety is going to be paramount, or their shit's done. One person gets injured at one of these and your guys are not going to be doing this anymore,
Well, and
so it behooves you to make sure that doesn't happen. And to say this is introductory means that you guys have to, and the number of people who had eyes on us that were making sure we were doing it right, I thought was where I felt really safe.
So we have 30 people attend. We divide you guys up into Alpha team and Bravo team. So 15 people are shooting at any given time.
Right.
And so we try and have 7 or 8 cadre out there.
Right.
So you have one cadre for every 2 students.
Right.
And then if you have, like Jeremy used to shoot IPSC like competitively. Okay. Yeah, he can still learn stuff, but he's probably not someone that's going to fucking flag someone because he has a lot of experience shooting. Right. And then like Rachel was brand new to shooting.
Right.
Okay. So let's have someone with Rachel the whole time.
Yes.
And we talk about all this stuff.
Yep.
And, that's actually one thing, because we've had a lot of people be like, dude, take your program on the road. Take your program on the road. Come to Texas. Come to Florida. And it's like, all that sounds cool. But if me, Greg, and Joao go somewhere, what they don't realize is what really makes that work is Greg's SWAT team. All those guys are on the SWAT team with Greg.
Right.
So he's working with them day
He
in
trusts them.
and
He
day
knows
out.
them.
He knows them.
Yes.
They train together.
Yep.
He knows how good they are. But also they have, because they're teammates and they have like an intimate friendship, they're going to always do the right thing for us. And then we're always going to do the right thing for them.
Right.
As soon as you go somewhere and it's like, hey, can I get 4 guys to be cadre who I don't know who the fuck they are?
Yeah, it dilutes it.
And now it's like, ugh.
I support that. I know other places that have taken it on the road, and that's what you run into. You run into fewer guys. You run into it gets diluted.
And I've had one of my buddies who one of these massive companies reached out to him and said, hey, will you be an instructor on this day for introduction to pistol shooting? He's like, yeah, okay. And they said, okay, be here at this time. And that was it. And it's like, no, like breakdown of the curriculum, no like assessment of who you are. Like there's no way that I would have someone on the range as part of our cadre that you've never been on the range with yourself.
Right. That you haven't completely vetted. Some. Yeah.
And we've had, we did have, and I don't even know if I should say this, but I say whatever I want on the show. So, but we had one cadre guy come out one time who tried to say too much to the students, and we had to talk about it because we don't want our assistant cadre running the show.
Right.
We are there, and me included, for safety and for pointers that we see that need to be like finger on the trigger. I have to address that right now. Or if you have a bad grip and I see it, I can adjust that grip. But what you never saw is me raise my hand and be like, and guys, this is another thing I want you to think about.
Right.
Because how many courses have you been to where a bunch of different people start talking because they want to feel important?
Yep.
And as soon as you have that, the students feel that. So it's like Lappin teaches.
Let it be the Greg show.
Lappin teaches.
Yep.
The rest of us facilitate that. Yep. That's how it has to be.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. And I really love how it was.
And plus he's the best out of us, so he should be teaching, you know? I actually met Lappin. I don't know if you heard that story. Like we became internet buddies.
No.
Yeah. We started following each other. We started following each other on Instagram because Jiu Jitsu Times shared a picture of him. And it was a picture of him in his SWAT gear and then a picture of him in his gi, like side by side. Yeah. And I looked at it, I was like, dude, that's legit. Because I was a cop at the time too.
Man crush.
You're like, wait, that's
man.
me.
Yeah, a little man crush.
We're the same.
Yeah, we have the same name and we are the same person. So I'm going to follow you. And then I saw that he got promoted to a purple belt and I sent him a message. I'm like, congratulations, man. Like whatever. Fast forward a year or 2 or 3, I'm at one of my best friend's house who was a Navy SEAL who I was deployed with. And Lappin walks in the kitchen and we both stop and look at each other like,
hey,
how do I know you? He's like, how the fuck do I know you? And I'm like, I got it. We're Instagram friends. So come to find out, my buddy's house that we were at, we both deployed with him separately on the same project, not the same team, but like the same project. We were just in different cities. And man, our paths, we crossed paths a bunch of times. Yeah. And just like 2 ships passing in the night. So like our network and our circle of friends, we all know each other's friends. We just didn't know each other. And so we're like.
So this is a long time ago.
4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
No, probably 4 years ago. Not a super long time ago. But I was like, I think we just became best friends, you know?
That's awesome. I love to like shit on the internet and social media.
I know.
Because it brings so much negative to the world, right? And then you and Greg are connected because of it. I'm connected to both of you because of it. Like I reached out to Nanette before Guns and Gis, like, oh, a woman, I need you to be on my side. And now look, like this is just crazy. You have to think of all the positive things it can do.
Well, no, it's literally like that in any aspect of your life. You're going to find what you're looking for.
Right.
Right. So if you want to get on the internet and be triggered about Hillary Clinton all day, and trust me, I'm not immune to being triggered. But I don't want that to fucking consume me to the point where it's affecting who I am.
Right.
But so much good has come out of the internet for my life. Like all the people that I'm connected to and like all the people that I've met over the last year, it's fucking crazy. And it's all from this, you know what I mean? So like a lot of people shit on the internet, me included, because I mean, if you check your screen time, it does, I'll check my screen time. It's like, you've been on your phone for 6.5 hours today. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You know,
blink those eyes.
Yeah. And so it's like, but it just comes down to discipline, right?
Yeah.
It's like any other aspect, any pleasure in life. Food, alcohol, fucking sex, anything that's fun
can be too much.
And your phone is no fucking different, except we get addicted to those things.
It's always there.
It's always there. And so it's like, have an understanding of that and then just use it.
Just be disciplined.
Yeah, be disciplined. Yeah. And I've been trying to not bring any negativity to my life through the internet. Like, I won't ever fight with people online.
Yeah.
I have plenty of people messaging me telling me you're just a big fucking idiot and everything you say is stupid. I hate your podcast. And it's just like, delete.
Oh, it's so easy.
There's been a couple times I've like written out a response and it's like,
got that out. Do not give them that time. You have only so much time in your life, in your day. I don't have time for that. Control the inputs and get on down the road.
And here's the thing. Because there's plenty of people on planet Earth that I'm in disagreement with. There's plenty of people on planet Earth that I fucking hate. Mm-hmm. What I'm not doing is going to their social media, going to their inbox and saying, hey, guess what, motherfucker? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't have time for that.
Not only do I not have time for that, but that's taking from my joy.
Right.
You know, Joe Rogan said it best. He said people that hate on other people on the internet are stealing their own joy. And it's like, I thought about that. I was like, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. There's plenty of people that hate him too.
Well, especially lately, you know.
But plenty of us that love him too.
Well, everybody should love Joe Rogan. It's bizarre to me
Me too.
that fucking, as soon as someone stands for not even left, he's not even left, he's not even right.
No.
He is
and he
just,
says it over and over and over. Yeah. I'm neither.
He is just open to allowing people to talk about what they want to talk about.
Well, and
Fuck
ask
that guy.
questions and ask questions and ask questions. And he knows a lot of stuff and brings on people who know answers and ask questions to not just accept what's being shoved down your throats. And it's just like, man, people get real mad about that.
But he can just disagree with people and then drink or smoke and move
drink
on.
and smoke.
Yeah, both at the same time. And it's not a big deal.
And then go do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You see Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter.
I was going to say maybe he can buy Instagram and then all of our
And then we're free, right?
amazing.
But dude, like here you have this.
People have lost their minds.
The richest man in the world who earned his money through some of the most innovative shit we've ever seen in our lives decides to spend it on this. And there's people that are all mad about it.
Pissed.
And it's like, who the fuck cares? I saw politicians, and I'll give my wife credit for this. Some politician was writing, if Elon Musk has $42 billion to throw away, he could have solved homelessness in America.
Oh,
and my wife,
let's go.
And dude, my wife goes, Isn't that their job?
Isn't that your job?
Isn't that your job? Yeah, that's not an entrepreneur's job. That dude, and not only is, I mean, you can call him an entrepreneur, he's sending astronauts to the space station. Like, he's doing NASA's fucking job too, you know? And it's like, people got to be mad about something.
Yep.
Just doesn't make any fucking sense.
I know it.
If they make space travel open to civilians, are you going?
No.
Never? Yeah? Mike's saying yeah.
I do not like to use the N word because it has bitten me more than once, but I think I can safely say.
What N word are we talking about?
Never. Never is such a bad word because I've said it and I've eaten those words, but I think I can safely say I will never go to space.
Being in a small tube.
Oh yeah, you did say you're claustrophobic.
Yes.
Well, not just that,
Emptiness.
but like I love Wyoming. I love wide open spaces. I like to be able to breathe freely. That's none of that.
Mars kind of looks like Wyoming.
But you can't breathe there. Mars does not look like Wyoming.
You know, they say like, if we ever colonize Mars, what is it, like 6 months to get there? Can you imagine going on a flight for 6 months?
On a one-way trip.
You know, it's like, when you say that, it sounds fucking crazy, right? But
Yes.
for Christopher Columbus and Leif Erikson and those guys, just getting in their boats and saying, we're going that way. That's equally as crazy.
I know.
Right?
I couldn't have been a pioneer woman.
Yes, you could have.
I don't
you
know.
would have-
You definitely
You
could have
are
been.
one.
I went to
You're a
Niagara
modern day
Falls.
one.
I went to Niagara Falls last month on the way to Boston, and it was like 23 degrees. And I was out there for maybe 8 minutes, and I was like, "How did these people survive?" I was freezing. I was like, "I'm the worst." I was like, "I would have never survived." Like forging across the United States, I would have been dead. Like, just keep on going. I'm gonna freeze to death.
No, I wish that I was alive in those times.
The Wild Wild West, and all that
Yes,
stuff.
of course. Like,
It was just chaos.
just being able to do whatever you want.
Yeah,
That in
including
itself.
like snake oil salesmen. There's no health care. It's just anybody does whatever.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Giving
And
birth
you
in a
can,
ditch.
Oh, they do that today
That's
where I
awesome.
lived in Africa.
oh, they also do that in Seattle in tents.
Yeah.
There's just fucking babies born. Hey. Now that is what the human experience was supposed to be, though.
Well, that's the opposite of the comfort crisis, right? Like those people they weren't depressed or they had
No
anxiety.
antidepressants.
They were trying to survive.
Those Xanax.
Do you know, like, you brought up being cold. Here's something that's funny about me. Like, if I'm not in the mindset to fucking like, all right, we're getting after it today, I'm a fucking bitch to the cold.
I am too.
Like, I hate it. Like, I get cold. Like, if I'm fucking watching TV, I'm gonna be all bundled up because I like to be fucking warm. But if I make that switch into, okay, I'm doing something, like I've summited Rainier 5 times and I'm like living on the glacier and shit. It's like, once you make that mental commitment, all right, this is gonna suck now, I don't care anymore.
That's
Because you know, like there is there is no getting warm out here. We're living on a glacier for the next 3 days and you're going to be cold. So you can be sad about it or you can just accept it.
That's right.
And once I've accepted it, it's like, okay, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
But if I haven't accepted it, I'll drink a smoothie and just be like, my wife's always like, you're so stupid. Like, no matter what. Yeah. Or I'll drink a coffee and then I'm just sweating, have all the windows down. It's like, whatever I drink, my body goes to that temperature immediately.
Like, I've been sweating over here drinking this coffee. I'm like, I know he said open the window, but I can't do it. I'm so hot.
Open the fucking window.
I'm just getting warmed up for jiu-jitsu.
Well, we
just going to keep it sweating going.
We got to go pretty quick because class starts in a half an hour.
Oh.
So... I mean, dude, we've already been at this an hour and 40 minutes.
It was so fun.
Did you get
rad.
from it what you wanted?
I don't want to get anything. I just want to hang out and have good conversation.
Oh.
And we did.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think the world of podcasting is becoming so powerful because people miss just sitting down and either partaking or listening to people having conversations. Nothing that we said or did today was like, oh my God, did you hear that? But someone somewhere will interpret it as that. There's a woman somewhere that'll listen to it and be like, you know what? Like, just like you saw a post and you're like, you know what? I'm going to try jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And then I get all these emails from people that are like, I listened to this and heard that.
Yep.
And I realize, man, your words have power. And putting out podcasts with good content and authentic conversations will benefit someone somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it worth my time. And then the other side of it is I would sit down and fucking kick it with you guys like we have before without this thing. Like this doesn't mean anything. Yeah. But because I'm doing this now, what I'm finding is I'm sitting down and I'm sharing conversation with people for hours at a time. And that's been lost in our world.
Yeah.
But that used to be what being a human being.
Absolutely.
You'd hunt, you'd forage, you'd do whatever you do.
Yep.
And then you'd go sit around the fire and bullshit.
That's right.
You know? You guys need to come back for Guns and Gis Pacific Northwest.
Oh, when's that?
That's what we're doing out of the property.
I know, but is it this year?
No, fuck no.
Okay.
No. But I want to show you guys that stuff. I want you to you need to get the full Washington experience.
Yes.
You're getting a little bit of it. Like you came in a good day.
I told her.
She said the weather's been bad, and I'm like, this is a beautiful day. I don't know what you're complaining about. The drive up here was so gorgeous. I'm like, look at these mountains. Are you kidding me right now? This is amazing. And she's like, you just wait.
You're almost mad that she got good with
Her
it.
neighbor was like,
in 4 weeks.
Her neighbor was like, don't hold your breath. And I was like, okay, is that a
She was like a 95-year-old woman.
It's gonna rain.
No, but so if you come up in June, July, or August, all these snow-covered peaks, some of them still have snow on them, but they're accessible. You can hike them all. Mount Pilchuck and Three Fingers.
I hiked Pilchuck and Rainier last summer.
Oh, you're a Washington OG then.
Well, my friend Julia had a nursing gig here in Bellingham, and so I came
That's
for a
right.
week.
That's
we
right.
slept in the outside for a week. It was amazing.
Where'd you go to Camp Muir on Rainier?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Wherever she told us.
You didn't summit though, just hiked it for the day?
No,
Okay.
I got to the point where it was pretty, and when it became just rock, I was like, turn it around. I have nothing to prove because we did the whole rock thing at Pilchuck, and I was like, this fucking sucks. It was the fires were burning.
Oh, okay.
So was it last August or something? Yeah. And I was just like, okay, we did it for this view. This blows. It didn't blow. It was great, but.
All right. Well, if you want random women, most of my listeners are men, but if any women would like to reach out to you guys and have questions on jiu-jitsu or whatever your path was and shit like that, because it's a real thing on the internet now. Are you comfortable people reaching out to you?
Yeah, they can send me a message on Instagram. It's Nanette M. Kelley.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, totally. Mine's not that simple.
No.
It's La Vida Re with periods in between.
She got a bunch of weird shit. So what I'll do is I'll link both these ladies' Instagrams down below on the show notes of the show. And if you are a woman that's on the fence that is considering doing jiu-jitsu or it's been recommended to you and you need a little bit of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Insight, perspective,
Encouragement.
maybe,
Yeah.
or just questions. We'll be happy to answer those. We're very different. I mean, I'm in my 40s. She's in her 20s. She went into it, full speed ahead. I was like, I'm not so sure. I think between the two of us, we can give some good insight to people that are like, should I?
Yeah, no, I like that. I think it's important.
We got to get your beautiful wife in there too.
Tell me about it. She broke her tailbone last week. I don't know if you saw her. She's just not hobbling anymore. CrossFit fell off the box. And she's a
I
CrossFit.
fell off the box and I think
break your
my big toe.
She's,
So we're gonna.
she's a CrossFit beast too.
Yeah.
But
So what you're saying is don't do CrossFit.
Stop box jumping for the love of God. No, they're
with,
so good.
With a front racked weight.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, they were doing step ups.
Yeah, that's why I don't do that.
Bad news.
Farmer carry on.
All right. Well, thanks for coming up, and we got to get out of here because we got to go strangle each other.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.